In this episode, we set up automation. So Killer Code, your favorite AI assistant agent, does everything without asking too much redundant questions, but stops and waits for confirmation, then something important is happening, then something what you should be aware of is happening. So let's see how do we do that. Our first thing for today is auto-approve. Auto-approve settings are very important. They work smoothing your workflow, so things happening automatically and quickly, and you don't need to worry about them. But also, incorrect setting for auto-approvals can lead to potential security vulnerables. So you need to stay aware and check your settings, maybe adjust them for your likings. So, how auto-approval works in real life? Take a look. I can ask model to read a file, and the model will use tool to read the file and return me, task completed, I read the file. That's it, very simple. Why it happens? Because this read action is auto-allowed in the settings. So we can get to settings, we can get to auto-approve, and we see what read is allowed. If I disable it, and we'll ask read the file again. It will not happen just like that, but now I will get this notification. I think you saw it before. Killer Code wants to do something, read this file specifically, and now you can approve on rejected. Now, for read files, I usually want them to be available, so I want read to be auto-approved. But other settings might be not so harmless. So let's take a look what you want to have enabled and what you want to have disabled. First, read. Well, for me it's okay. Works fine. Then write. Write usually again as long as this write happening within the workplace, and then I always can see the difference using git diff. So I see what's changed and what's not here. It's fine to me. But under no circumstances I want those to be enabled by default. And neither should you. Those reads and writes allow to read and write files outside of the workplace, so not the working folder, but maybe in your documents folder, maybe in your downloads, and so on and so forth. You don't want model to be able to read those files without your approval. And take a look and don't just approve everything. There can be scenarios where you don't want those files to be read. Okay, so write. Usually fine, if it's not outside of a workplace. Then browser. By default, browser use will be auto-approved, but personally I don't like how model uses browsers, like nearly all of them, so I usually disable browser use and prefer to do tests, for example, on my own. If for my experience it just goes faster. Maybe you trust model more, and for your case it works fine. Well, when you can have it. And retry. I would not keep enabled because it can be, in some cases, leading to excessive costs and without giving some reasonable result. If something goes wrong, I want to know about that and maybe react on that, change something in settings, and so on and so forth. So MCP allows general MCP usage without approval, which should be fine, but I don't want modes to be just switching between some modes. Well, your experience might vary, and again, you may be actively using orchestrator when you definitely want orchestrator to be able to switch modes. Then subtasks usually fine. Execute. Execute can be very powerful and also potentially dangerous thing. Execute means allowance to execute console commands. And then you think, hey, there can be a prompt injection or something. I don't want agents just to execute console commands without my direct permission. But this command is so important, so it has its own more dedicated fine-grained allowances. I will show it in a moment. So usually I keep this execute enabled. Then, question. If you've been asked question, but you just left whatever was drinking coffee meanwhile, then if question auto answer, auto approve is enabled, then first suggested answer will be taken and model will keep working. That's not what I want. I want model to ask and I want to answer those questions myself. So I definitely disable auto approve for questions. And when finally having to do auto approve, it is usually absolutely fine to me. Please notice, right now we're watching on the general settings of the for auto approve for all the modes. Now, each mode has their own auto approve things. For built-in modes, you cannot edit them. For your own modes, you can set your some very specific fine-grained set of auto approvals. We will take a look at it in next video. It's a very important one, so don't miss it. So, okay. Now, with auto approval, next things and automation we want to do. We might want a model to stop after 20 API calls or after $10 of costs per task. We discussed it in the previous videos. Now, read and write files outside workspace. You don't want it to be enabled, so keep an eye on it. And then finally, we are getting to allow it out to execute commands. So here you can see what some commands allow it, and some commands can be strictly denied, so model will know why cannot be used in no circumstances. Editing it is very simple. So for example, I want model to be able to do git status. So I give this command here, and now it's auto allow it. Now I will not be asked for that. And usually it's fine to keep here commands what cannot bring harm, like TypeScript compilation or git log, all those kind of things. You could say what having npm install in auto allowance can be potentially dangerous, especially considering recent breaks and vulnerabilities in Node packages. So it's your decision if you want to keep it, have it here, or remove it. And then finally, you can have denied commands, denied permanently. That's it about auto approve. Deeper dive we will do in the next video when we will edit and create our custom mode. Next thing are workflows. Workflows is also an automation tool which allow you to automate tasks you have to do again and again by describing their steps and then make model following those steps. It's like creating a to-do list for model, and then we'll be able to call this to-do list with slightly different parameters, dates, maybe pull request IDs or some whatever changes in your workflow, calling them again and again. Let's take a look on how to set up them. First thing first, workflows are nothing but file. You can create them as files and you can create them via a graphical user interface, but it doesn't change a lot. This graphical user interface still will just create a file for you. These are located in .kilocode/workflows folder, if that's a global, if it's a project files, and in your home folder .kilocode/workflows if it's a global workflow. So let's take a look how we do it using user interface. There is a special button, Managing Rules and Workflows, and we can switch it to Workflow tab. Now, we can define here global workflow and workspace workflow. I want to have here submit PR markdown file. Done. And as you see, model created this file for me. It's located in .kilocode/workflows as promised. And here we give the description of this process and step-by-step tools for the model. So I can copy, for example, this example here. Submit pull request workflow. Then I just keep it here, submit pull request workflow, and define what is it about, what model is going to do here, and what will be step-by-step. Ask follow-up question to get PR title and description from the user. Actually, I want, that's parameters for the ask. and what we'll be using here. For example, instead of using console commands, you could use GitHub MCP if you have GitHub MCP installed. So with this file created, now I can just switch to chat. Yes, I might need different mode. And now if I will scroll down, I will find my submit PR command right here. So I can initiate it. I can give some more data needed for this workflow on what's about to happening. Release version 4.5, something like that. So give more data, then I can launch it, and model will begin working on this workflow step by step. Now you know how to optimize your workflows in kilocode, how to tell model what it's allowed to do and what's not, where you should be asked. So you have now much better control over how kilocode will work for you. You prefer more fast pace and don't want to be asked too often. Maybe you want to have more auto approvals, allow it, and maybe you prefer to keep everything under your control and you work on high security, highly private project. Well, then you can disable some potentially dangerous actions. But the most important thing is now you know how to do it. Now, I don't know if you notice it, but that's episode 2. That's a little anniversary which I'm going to celebrate today. You did great job. You walked through 10 episodes. There is more to come, but you're already getting better and better in AI-assisted coding, and I'm very happy with that. In the next video, we will design our own custom mode. So, jump in. See you very soon.